So last time we started with functions. Okay. So for functions we have two things, that is function definition and second is function call, right? Now to give a call to function we just write function name. Let's say print val is a function. Okay. And we write a function definition for this. Now how to write a function definition? Def is a keyword. I will use this function name print val. Okay. Now this name and this name should be exactly same. Okay. I can pass input to the function as parameters. Okay, so here also I do not have to specify any kind of data types, right? And right, so I need to define two variables. Let's say num1 is equals to 100, num2 is equals to 200. Okay, I need to accept these two parameters. I can accept it using num1, num2 or any two different values also, it will not matter. And I can do some calculations, and if I want to pass the results I need to use this return statement, right? So whenever it executes this return statement it will jump and it will go to the column, right? So if you are returning something from a function you need to accept the result also, right? So this is something we have discussed. Now let's try the perfect number example. Okay, so if I have a number is equals to 6, okay, I need to check if this is a perfect number or not, right? So what is a perfect number? If I calculate the divisors, so divisors will be 1, 2 and 3. So I need to check divisors less than this number. Yes, if divisors are, so if I perform the addition of all the divisors and if it's equal to number itself, then I can say this particular number is a perfect number. Okay. Now I want to write a function. It will take this number as an argument. Okay, and it will check if this is a perfect number or not. If this is a perfect number, it should return me true. Otherwise, it should return me false. Okay. All right. So I defined the number. Okay. Next, let's say function name is perfect. Okay. It takes this number as an argument. What should I write here? Okay, so I'm passing this number. Right, it will return me something. You can accept it into any variable, so I'm saying result. Okay, and let me just print the result. Now how to write a function definition for this? I need this keyword def, function name. I need to accept this parameter, let's say val. All right, so logic will be, so I will start iterating over all this element 4, 5 less than this. Okay, not inclusive 6. I don't want to check this 6 till 5. I need to check. Okay, if I want the numbers from 1 to 5, what I need? For loop. So I'm saying for, let's say, value in next.
Well, or no?
Now?
It's in range. 1, no.
1, comma?
No.
What is num?
Num is vertical 6, right? So we can modify it.
But I am passing this
Val.
num as a val here.
Okay, val.
Right?
So val.
Okay, val. So this will give me numbers from 1 to 5, right? Because number passed will be 6. It will, so end element will not be inclusive, right? So I'll get numbers from 1 to 5.
You should initialize sum equal to 0.
All right. Okay, next.
Like a condition in value. Reminder of val. No, that's val. No, that's val. Val reminder value.
Okay.
equals 0. Then increase sum by val. Yes.
Okay. Then let us write that. Okay.
If sum is equal to
Where? Here?
no.
Here?
Yes.
Here? Hello? Okay, yeah, next.
Here.
Here or here? Here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sum equals val.
Correct. Correct. Sure.
If this is value, this is value. Sum plus equal value.
Okay.
And then return true.
Sure.
It's equal to equals double equal.
Okay.
And returns true. Yes.
Okay. Looks good. Sure. Okay. So what I'm doing, I'm defining a function called perfect. I'm passing this number. So in this case, this is 28, right? So this 28 will be passed as a val now. Okay, so I'm accepting as a val. So it will not matter you accept it as a num only or a, hello? Okay, so I have defined a function called perfect. Okay, I'm passing this number. It is taking as this val, right? So what I want to do, I want to generate the numbers from 1 to 27 this time, right? So for that I have defined a range for value in range 1 to val, right? So this num is actually val here, so I'm taking this val. Okay, now what I need to check, each number which I will get from this range, okay, okay, if this number is dividing perfectly for this number or not. So I have this val, I'm trying to find out the remainder. If this is 0, then only I will calculate the sum and I'll increment the sum, and at the end I'm just comparing if sum is equal to value. If sum is equal to value, I will say return true, otherwise return false. Okay. So last time which parameter passing you discussed?
Positional argument.
So last time we started discussion with different parameter passing techniques, right?
Yes.
Okay, which are those?
Direct.
First, we don't have anything called direct.
Default.
Alright, so first is positional. Second,
default. Then keyword.
we discussed keyword also.
You just said it, but you haven't written requirements.
Okay, keyword.
That's all.
That's all right. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So let's say I want to write a program, okay, which will work. Let's say I'm writing this function called add. Okay. Now this function should work if I pass two values. Same function should work if I pass three values. Same function should work if I pass five values. Okay, or let's say something like this. Okay. So till now, whatever methods which we have discussed, in which I need to provide fixed number of parameters, right? So in default, if my function called takes three parameters, my function definition should also have three parameters. In default, I can initialize a particular parameter to a default value. In case of keywords, I can specify the exact keywords and it will. Oh, we have discussed keyword or not? Keywords, no? Sure. So we'll come back to keywords again. So positional and default clear, right? Forgot. Want to revise. So let's start from positional. Okay. So what is positional? So the problem we solved just now is example of your positional argument. Okay. So what is positional? That here if I'm passing one argument, there should be one argument in my function definition also, right? So if I do not pass anything, it will throw me an error that expected one positional argument. Okay. Now please try to read these errors because ultimately going forward you will be using lot of built-in functions, be it from default library or you will be importing various libraries and using functions. Okay. So if you're not passing parameters correctly, it will throw error something like this. Okay. Now we have two different set of errors. First, if I do not pass a required number of parameters in a function call, okay, it says missing one required positional argument. Okay. Now here I'm saying num1. Let's make it num. This is the same case. Okay. Now this time it will say this perfect function takes zero positional argument, but you have given one. Okay. So in positional argument system, your total number of parameters should always match. Okay. So how it works, if you pass multiple parameters, it will directly map. So if I'm passing num1, num2, num3 here, and if I'm accepting as val1, val2, val3, it will directly map the value of num1 to val1, num2 to val2, num3 to val3. Okay. So this is your positional argument system. Now what is the default? So example of your default argument, if you just check your print function.
If you not send the positional argument out,
it will take the parameter. Okay. So we have something called separator and which is initialized to space. End is initialized to slashing. Okay. So that is the reason you never actually write these things while printing something, right? So while printing here also we have just written where are printing part. We just printed result, right? We are not putting separator, we are not putting this end parameter, right? For this parameters, it has default value initialized, that is space and equal to /n, right? So you do not have to, if you do not pass it also, it will take some values, right? So let's say I'm writing a function add. Okay, I'm passing two values. Now this add function takes three values, let's say num1 comma num2 comma num3. Okay, all right, and this just returns num1 plus num2 plus num3. Okay, now here I'm passing only two parameters. My function takes three parameters, right? I'm returning something, so I'm just printing the result directly. Okay, so there is one missing parameter. So if I execute it with normal positional argument system, it will throw me an error that missing one required positional argument num3, right? So what I can do, I can say num3 is equals to 0. Okay, so now it will work. So let's see, print. Okay, so for the third parameter, it will defaultly take a value to 0. Same thing happening in your print function also. So we have a logic written for a separator, that whatever may be the separator, it will print likewise. Okay, so if you do not pass it, it will defaultly take it as space. Also, after printing one value, defaultly put /n. You can specify end parameter explicitly by providing a space if you want, right? So the only concept for your default thing is, if I'm defining a default parameters, okay, so there should not be any non-default parameter following default parameter. Okay, I repeat, there should not be any non-default parameter after default parameter. Okay, so if I give this, it will say error that non-default argument follows default argument.
It should be in the first or in the last.
Okay, so if I want, so this will work.
If everything is zero. Yeah.
Okay,
It should be in the end, which should not be followed or it
exactly. So this will also work. The only thing will not work is if I do something like this. Okay, because this is the default parameter and following this non-default parameters. Okay, clear to everyone?
Yes, yes.
Atra? Now I want to write a function that here we have seen if I pass two values, it will work, or maximum three values, right? But this will not work if I pass four values or if I pass five values, right? So I want to write a function, it will accept all these things.
Can we import a function essentially like import back or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, alright. So now I have these two function calls. I want to, so a single function should accept this, both of them. Okay.
Say import back,
Uh-huh.
then fsum,
Uh-huh.
math.fsum.
So that is your built-in functions, right?
Yes.
So this is the case of your sum, let's say. But how about I have a different condition where I need to pass multiple strings and I want to perform some manipulation on that. Right. Right. So we have something called okay. Now just have a look and tell me what just happens if I say print ARGS. That's it. What is the data type of ARGS? All right. So if you have variable number of parameters, okay, and you want to accept it, so I can use this star args. So it's not mandatory that you have to write this args only. So this is a standard convention to accept variable length arguments, okay. So this will also work, but the standard convention for n number of positional arguments is specify these arguments, okay. So this star is important. So when you specify star args, it will pass all the parameters as a tuple, okay. So everything will be one tuple and it will be passed as a one value to this function, okay. So this is an example. This is also called as a packing, okay. So I have 5 different parameters. I am packing them into one tuple, okay. So now I want addition. What should I do? Addition of all these arguments.
You have to iterate over.
Can we use any built-in functions?
Built-in functions.
We discussed it last time, right?
We can use this one.
For that, what should I write?
Import that.
Import math. Okay. Here.
Importing math dot math dot fsum. Add.
What is add?
Oh.
Add is a function name.
No.
So what I need to pass to fsum? Generally, forget about this example.
Modern marks.
Right. So we pass a list, right, to get addition of multiple elements. Similarly, here I'm getting all this element as an arguments, right? So I'll say this. Yes. Keep in mind, while accepting the arguments only, you will write this args, star args, right? Going forward, it will be completely only args. Okay, we will not use this star. Okay, and I will just say, let's say, return this as.
We use one more function called add alone.
So it's sum. What is the problem with that?
Add.
We have sum, not add.
Add takes list as an input. Add.
It's a sum. It's a sum. It's a sum. Okay.
Yes.
So you can use directly sum function also. So just write sum. Now when I say f sum, this is my floating point sum, and when I say sum, this is generally for integer sum, right? What is the problem with sum? So it has some accuracy issue with your floating point numbers.
Yes, it will
Remember?
10 times. It will print it 10 times.
Okay. Alright, so I have the 0.1 10 times. If I perform the addition, answer will be 10 times 0.1, guys.
1.
Okay.
Okay, it's 1.
Okay. So generally your f sum is preferred.
Only for the float points.
Yeah. Okay. So understood this star args. Okay. So all the parameters will be passed as a tuple.
We'll discuss this.
We discussed this last time.
Yeah, you just told what does it does. That's it. It's a problem.
Right.
Everyone was thinking what is ARGS.
Right. Okay. So this is your ARGS. Alright. Now let's say you have a function which takes three values. Okay. So this takes three values. All I need to do is just print this values. Okay. So very simple basic example. Okay. Now all these three values I have in a list. Okay. Now I want to pass these three values to this particular function. What I will write? Yeah, I need to pass these three values. Then I don't want to modify anything in a function. It's just I need, what should I write to pass this 10, 10 to and 30.
Yeah, we can pass that least index we can pass.
Yeah, so what should I write here? So what is the index?
0.
Okay, so I can say I love 0. Okay. I don't want, so keep in mind, when I'm passing this, I don't want to pass this entire list. I want to pass the values. That's why I'm saying L of 0, L of 1, L of 2. So that it will map this L of 0 to num1, L of 1 to num2, L of 2 to num3. Okay. But this is not the recommended way. All you have to do is star L. Okay. So we have seen the example of packing where I have n number of arguments and we packed it into a tuple, right? And this is the example of, so I have a list. Okay, I'm unpacking this into three different values. Okay, let's execute this.
But
Run it.
Kunal, if you pass like index means it will also work out, no?
Exactly, that will work, that will work.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So all you have to do, if you have equal number of values in a list, all you can do is just write star L. Okay, keep in mind your value should be same. Okay, so it will unpack this list into four different values and it will try to pass it to this print val. But now your print val takes only three values. Okay, so that's why it will throw an error. Okay.
There also we can do. Here also we can make it.
The start, yes. Okay. Right. Okay. Try the same thing in case of dictionaries.
This is called unpacking.
So this is, I have a list. I'm unpacking into three different values. Okay. Here I have multiple values. I am packing everything into a tuple. Okay. Now let's say you have a dictionary and you are getting these three values as a value of any key. Try this using this star then and tell me what you get. Alright, let's see. So let's say I have a dictionary. Okay. So num1 equals to 10. Num2 is to 20. Okay. This is the key. Alright. Let's give a call print val of study. What is the output?
No more
Mm-hmm.
showing
What
only
it
the
is?
showing only the
Showing only the
keys.
okay. That's correct. That's correct. Okay. So if I say star D in case of a dictionary, it will only pass the keys. But my intention was to pass this three values. Okay. In case of a dictionary, you will be using this double sum.
What if you want to print as it is?
So you can directly pass the dictionary if your requirement is this, that pass the entire dictionary, accept the entire dictionary, that is fine. Okay. But now your requirement is you want to only pass the values. Okay. Then you can use this concept of unpacking.
So start, pack, two stars, unpack.
Okay. Alright, so the top, yeah. So we discussed positional, default, yeah, third. Keyword, let's discuss again. So we discussed variable and parameters, right? That is your star ARGS, which is also called as and then we have seen unpacking. Okay. Let's say what is keywords. So use of keyword parameter passing technique is your sequence will not matter now. Okay. So all this example we have seen, it is directly mapping this first value to the first parameter, second value to the second parameter, third value to the third parameter, right? Now I can explicitly specify the order, okay, using keyword parameters. Take the same example. Okay. I have this. Now while giving a call, I'm writing something as num2 is equals to 40, num3 is equals to, alright, let's make it simpler, 30, 40, num1 is equals to 10. Okay, so I want to pass ultimately num1, num2, num3, but I don't want to maintain the same order. Okay, in that case I can use my keyword parameters. So here I'm explicitly specifying that num1 is equals to 10. Still this num1 will be mapped to this num1. Num2 is 30, this will be mapped to this num2. Num3 to 40, this will be mapped to this. Okay. The only important condition is whatever parameter name you are specifying here, it should be same. Here I'm saying num1, then I should pass num1. Here if I say this, it will throw me an error. Okay.
Kunal,
Yeah.
you can give num2 equal to 30, num3 equal to 40 in place of instead of third place. I mean num1 we can pass only 10. Then what will be the output? In the
Which one?
last place we will you just remove that no, yeah.
Okay. So this will not work. Okay. Now how about this? Let me make it num3. Let me make it num2, and I'm passing 10. Okay. So if I'm passing default values and the keyword parameters both, if I'm passing positional and the keyword, my positional should be first, then all my keyword parameters. Okay. So how it will work? So it will first map this 10 with num1 directly. Now it has to choose from num2 and num3. Okay. Here if I pass num4, then it will throw again me an error that num4 is unexpected parameter. Okay. Clear? Right. So we have seen variable and positional parameters. Okay. We have something called variable and keyword parameters also. Let me discuss this order. So this is num3, this is num1, and this is num2. What if it's 50? Okay, so this is working. Now we have seen star args. Now I'm saying something.
Oh, it converts a tuple into dictionary. Processor into keys and do values to directory.
So if you have variable and parameters, variable and keyword parameters, it will convert all these parameters into a dictionary of key and the value. Okay. So now if I see it here, what should I write? So as this is a dictionary, then I need to pass, okay, this is a dictionary with this key num1. Okay. So this is the example of your variable and keyword parameters. Okay. Okay. You have some positional parameters and you have some keyword parameters. Okay. So this keywords will not work in case of positional parameters. Okay. So in that case, you can write something as okay. So now this is a universal way of accepting n number of parameters and any number of parameters. Okay. So if you don't want to bother that what will be the values coming to this particular function, I will accept it as star args and keyword arguments. So all positional parameters will be packed into a tuple and passed to this args. All keyword arguments will be packed and passed as a dictionary to this keyword arguments. Okay. So this will be used widely. We will just specify star args and star keyword args. Okay. So this is for your positional parameters, variable and positional parameters, and this is for your variable and keyword arguments. Okay. So if you accept any function with star args and double star keyword arguments, you will never get an error that it requires this much parameters and you are passing this much parameters. Okay, work for all the cases. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's discuss something called scope of the variable. Okay. So far we are directly passing values to the function, right? Okay. Let's say now I'm saying num1 is equals to 100. I have this function now, and inside this function, okay, much. Okay, so I'm defining a function outside the function definition, and I'm trying to print the value inside a function. Okay, so you can see it's still allowing me to print the value. Okay, now let's try the reverse. Now I'm saying num1 is equals to 100 here. Okay, print it here. Print val. So it's giving me error num1 is not defined. Okay, so which means the scope of a variable is local to a function. Okay, so if I define a variable inside a function, I can access it only inside that function only. So the same variable is not available outside this function definition. Okay, so this is a default scope. Your scope will be local for any variable. Okay, now let's try this thing. So when I define this here, okay, number, and I'm trying to print this value. Okay, I'm modifying the same value to 200 now. Okay, now print the num1 again. Okay. Okay, so this is throwing me error that local variable num1 referenced before assignment. Okay, so we have seen earlier that if I define a variable outside and we tried printing here, it worked, right? But now this is not working. Okay, why? So my aim was I'm specifying a variable and initializing it to 100. Okay, when I'm modifying it, I mean that I want to change this value 100 to 200 for this number. Okay, but how Python will consider it that okay, this is a local variable, okay, which is being printed before actual assignment. Okay, so defaultly your scope will be local to the function. Okay, so it will check if any variable is defined in this particular function or not. Okay, now you have defined the variable, okay, but before actually it's come into existence, you are trying to print it. Okay, so it's a conflict for Python that whether to use this reference or to use this reference. Okay, so that's why it will throw an error. Now if you want that, if you are defining a variable outside a function and you want to access the same variable inside a function, we have something called global. Okay, so now what I'm saying that num1 equal to 100. Okay, give function call. Now inside a function, I'm saying global num1, which means wherever you will find a reference to variable num1, don't consider it as a local variable. Do not create a local copy of it. Consider it as a global variable num1. Okay. So now whenever it's print, it will print this 100. Now I modified num1 to 200, and after that I printed, so it printed this 200. After the function got after the completion of the function, it will come here and will print this value after function call, and it will modify this same value.
So if you don't print number and just give number is
Where?
yeah, just give a number and divide it 200. But if you don't print the number,
Yeah, right. So ultimately you are saying this is a local variable. Okay, print this value num1 here, and outside of this function you will still find the value. Okay, so even though you have specified this is a global variable, okay, so now this is your, it will create a local copy of a same variable num1. Okay, so that's why you need to explicitly specify that I want to mean a global variable.
so once it's defined globally, you can't.
It will consider this single value. Okay, any queries? Can we do a problem? So if I give a number factorial of 5, it should return me the answer, that is factorial of 5. Okay, so what is factorial? It will be 5 into 4 into
3 into 2 into 1.
2 into. Okay. So try this function. So I'll give a call as fact of 5. It should take this 5 as an input. It should calculate this value and return the answer.
We need input math.
Alright, without input math. Write a logic.
Which are putting math.
Yeah, write a logic for this.
So for you,
So in this
Your voice is
we
breaking.
can
Your voice is breaking.
use while loop. No?
We are not able to hear you at all. Can you just type in a chat?
Yeah, no. I'm asking. We can use here while loop, na?
Exactly, yeah. So we can use both loops, be it for, be it while. Alright. Okay, so this is my print function call. So this is my fact, right? Okay.
definition fact.
Alright.
For value in range 1 comma.
How about this?
Okay.
Next. So you get numbers like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, not 0. What should I need to do with this number?
You can assign string code value 0 and 18. display it.
Okay.
Value is equal to 1. Value is already in
So it's like value. So,
and value is equal to star equal to value. And it should be number.
okay.
Here it should be number.
So, next.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm taking one extra variable to store the factorial. So it's the same as your sum example. In case of sum, you are just adding sum plus value, right? Sum is equal to sum plus value. Here I'm just saying val star equals to value. Whatever may be the answer. Okay. How to do this using while loop? What is the end condition?
While num not equal to 0. While is equal to
Val is equals to
value is equal to
into
num.
Then
Num minus equal to 1.
okay, so I need to decrement the counter by 1 each time, and at the end, say this return. Okay. So same problem I can solve with recursion. Any idea? Okay. So when I say 5, okay. So I can write it as 5 into 4 factorial, right? Same thing I can write 4 into k factorial. It will be same as 3 into 2 factorial. This will be 2 into 1 factorial. And at the end, 1, right? So we have something called recursive functions. Okay. Now what is the ultimate answer? If the number is equal to 1, answer will be 1, right? Otherwise, I am doing that number into number minus 1 of factorial, right? So when I start from 5, if I number 5, I'm saying 5, that means that number multiplied by factorial of number minus 1. Here also number into factorial of number minus 1. Number into factorial of number minus 1, right? Till your number is 1. If number is 1, my answer is 1. Okay. The same thing I can write it as, let's say, fact of 5. Okay. So let's say definition fact of num. I'm checking if num equals 1, return 1, else return num into fact of num minus 1. Okay. Now, so such functions are called recursive functions. So what is recursive function? A function giving a call itself. Okay. So inside the same function, I am giving a function call to the same function. Okay, so if I execute this, I'm getting 120. So how it works? Let's debug it. Okay, so initially I'm making this first call, right?
Yes.
Fact of 5. So now this will be passed to this fact 5. All right, let's track all your right. So first call is fact of. Okay, so when we'll go up, it will check if 5 equal to 1, no, right? Else return num into fact of. Okay, so ultimately this is your equal to 5 into
4.
fact of 4. Now what is this? This is again another function call, right? So in short, when it executes this fact, it will go up here again with number 4 now. It will check num equal to 1, no. Go here, check, return num into fact of num minus 1. So ultimately this will be now 4 into fact of 3 again, right? Now this will go up again. This is again function call. It will be 3 into fact of 2. Again this will be 2 into factor of 1. Okay. Now when it goes 1, okay, it is saying return 1, right? So where it will return this 1? Okay, so answer is 1. Okay, but I'm saying return 1. Now where it will return? Okay, so concept, when you make a call, so and there's a return statement, it will always return to its caller, right? Now in the same example, we have made multiple function calls for a same function, right? So I'm getting answer as 1, but 1, this is getting called from which function? This particular factorial function, right? So it will pass this 1 as the answer here. So I'll get answer 1. Okay, so it will evaluate 2 into 1, answer will be 2. Now this 2 is again inside the return statement, right? So when you evaluate this, this is again return statement. Now where it will return? To its caller. Now who is the caller? This fact 2, right? Here you will get answer as 2. Now it will calculate 2 into 3. Your answer will be 6. Now 6 will be returned to which call? Fact of 3, right? So I'll get 6 here. So it will calculate 6 into 4, 20. Okay. So now I have this 24. Again this 24 will be returned to its caller. So your caller is fact of 4. So I'll get here 24. Now I'll calculate 24 into 5. Answer will be 120. And this is your final answer. This will be returned to this particular print statement. Okay. So all these function calls are happening before this actual print function call in the background. Yeah, we have. Okay. So this is the concept of your factorial, that I will give a call to same function again inside the same function. Okay. Let's solve one more example for this. Anyone knows binary search? I have a list.
Different algorithms. These are different algorithms.
So we have seen linear search, right? So what is linear search? I will specify a key and it will check if this is present or not. It will compare it linearly, right? It will compare with each element. Okay. Now let's imagine your size of 1000 elements and you're searching for something. In that case, in case of linear search, you have to compare it with each element, right? Okay. And so because of that, the number of iterations are more in case of your linear search, right? To avoid it, we have something called binary search. Right. So I will have one key. Let's say that key is 70. Okay. So how binary search will work? It will calculate the mid. Okay. So what is the length of this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So first thing I will calculate mid. Okay. So first important step for your binary search, your list should be sorted. Okay. Here is the first condition. Okay. Then I will calculate the mid. Mid will be your length by 2.
Okay, average.
Okay. So in this case, let's say I got 4. Okay. I will compare with the fourth element now.
Is it odd number of elements?
Divide by 2, whatever with the value. Okay. What is the answer? So now I have 9 elements. 9 by 2, I'll still get 4. Right?
It will take 1 elements.
Okay. So now I have mid. Okay. So fourth. What is the fourth element? 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4th. Okay. I will start comparing with mid. Okay. I will check if 70 equal to 50 or no. Okay. If this is equal, so first condition I will check if key equals L of mid. Right? If this is equals, I will return true. Okay. If no, I need to check. So now in this case, 50 and 70. Okay. It is not equal. Now I will check two condition. Else, I'll check if this key is greater than L of mid, and second condition I'll check if this key is less than L of mid. Okay. Now as my array is sorted, okay, I will just check if key is greater than mid or not. Right? If this is if key is greater, then for sure it is present on the right hand side only. Okay, because my array is sorted. Right? If I'm taking 70, as my array is sorted, and if my mid is 50, for sure I can say if key present, it must be present on the right hand side of the mid. Right? Right? Okay. If key is less than mid, I can say if key is present, then it should be on the left hand side of the list. Okay. So if this condition is satisfied, in our condition, what is what's getting satisfied? This one, right? Okay. If this is satisfied, I will pass all the elements on the right hand side. Now I will consider only this part. Okay. So I will completely discard this much elements. Okay. So half of the elements are discarded. I don't want to check them. Okay. Only thing I will check is this. 60, 70, 100 and 110.
In linear search, we are not sorting the elements.
No. Okay. So here I will compare key is greater, right? So here I will just check list which is on the right hand side. What are the elements? 60, 70, 100 and 110. 60, 70, 100, 110. Okay. So now I have shorter list. Same thing I need to do again now. Calculate mid again. How many elements I have? 4. 4 by 2. I'll get mid equal to 2. Compare second element. 0, 1, 2. Okay. So compare your key equals to 100. Matching? No. Right? Then check if your key is greater or less than L of mid. Which condition will satisfy here? Okay. So here in case now your list is less, right? If the key is less, I will pass all the elements on the left hand side of it, right? So next time I need to only consider elements. It is 60 and 70. Okay. Once I have this list, now find out the mid again. Okay. Mid
So mid is equal to
1. What is L of 1?
L of 1 is 17.
Check now if this is equal to this or not. Yes?
Yes.
Return no. Sure. Okay. So now compare how much iteration you require. So you split it into three parts, right? In a 3 iteration, you got answer. If it's linear search, it would have taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 comparisons. Okay. So got the logic? So now if you see, whenever you are repeating, right? So whenever you are taking from the left hand side part or from the right hand side part, and after that again you are repeating the entire binary search process, right? So with a different set of list and the same key, right? So in that case, you can use your recursive approach of binary search again. So you will again give a call to binary search function, okay, with different set of list. Okay, let's try this now. Understood the algorithm? Sure. Who will help me? Okay, so this is a list. This is a key. Okay, let's take binary search. Binary underscore SEERCH. Okay, I'm passing this list and I'm passing this key to a function. Okay, right. Yeah, my function. What should I write? Def
Binary search.
binary search. Okay, it will take two arguments.
Star ArgS.
You want directly star ARGS, right? Only two parameters. Go with positional argument. No need with arguments. Okay, we can do that. L of key. Okay. Okay. First thing I need to do, calculate the mid.
Yes, so L mid is equal to come directly to
I want length of this list.
yes, length of divided by 2.
If I do division, I'll get floating point result.
Yes. So okay. Yes.
Will it do?
No.
So this will calculate the floor operator and it will give me the integer part only, right?
We can use model to anything integer part.
So this will also give me integer part, right? Okay. Alright. So if I got a mid, I need to check if element is present at mid or not. What should I write?
If mid is equal to
Mid is just a number.
if key is equal to development.
Let's say just write return true.
Elif
What condition we need to check?
again lesser or equal.
Okay.
Key lesser equal to
less than or equal to no.
less than development.
And second condition will be
Else key greater than L of
okay. So as we have only three conditions, I'll just say else, right? Okay. Yeah. So here I need this binary search of a different set of list, right? If it's, let's say, less, then I need to give a call to this binary search function, but this time my list will not be the entire list. I want to pass my key is less, right? Which means I want to pass everything which is on the left hand side.
Okay.
What should I write for that? So if this is the mid, let's say 50, I want to pass this 10, 20, 25 and 30. What should I write?
L of 0 colon colon mid minus 1.
The end is not inclusive.
It's slicing.
So now if I say 0 of mid, this will do. Okay, so I'm saying from 0 go till mid. Okay, your mid you have already checked, so you don't want to include it, right? But this is already excluded, right? So I can just say 0 of mid, and I am passing the same key. Okay, otherwise I need to say binary search. Now I want to pass everything which is on the right hand side.
So just type mid and colon. Mid plus colon.
Okay, so here you are starting from mid. Now in this case, so mid will be inclusive, right? And you have already checked the mid, so you don't want to check it again, right? So mid plus 1 to end of the list.
This is recursion inside the
Okay, looks good. Anything missing? Should I execute?
Yes.
Right. What will be the mid? In our case, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Mid 4, 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 8. If I pass key as a 50, this will work.
No, where did we return true or something?
Exactly. So we have this written true, right?
Okay. If E is equal to left not written true. But we are not written anything after we did the binary search, right? Okay. So I believe binary search L of mid dot key. Binary search L of mid plus 1 key. But we didn't written any values. Every time. 120 will return also. Return 12.
Okay, all right. So no worry about this 120 for now, okay? But why it was not working first and why we missed those return statements, okay? Let's start from there, okay? So when you haven't returned this return statement, right? Now in binary search, your return statement are most important, okay? So what you were doing in this case, so let's say whenever your key is 100, right? You're splitting into the mid, right? So, okay, so your mid will be 50, right? And you're passing, so you're passing this list of 60, comma, 70, comma, 100, comma, 110, right? With a key 100, right? This is your key, okay? All right. You will split it again. So if you calculate the mid, it will be 0 comma, okay, so mid will be 2, right? 0 1 2, okay, you'll get it at mid, okay? Now here you get answer as true, okay?
Yes.
It will return it to its caller, right? But its caller is not at all returning anything at the top, okay? So in short, because of that, your answer is lost in the middle only, okay? So it's not getting at the top, okay? So that is the reason you need to write a return statement so that whatever value you're getting at end of this array, it should reach at the top so that you can see the result. Okay. All right, so that's one thing. Now let's say I'm saying 120.
We can write another thing. Instead of else, you write elif. Okay. Then you write else, print number not present.
But then it will print each case. This will print that thing, I guess.
No, we instead of else, right? Mid plus one, we can use elif. After elif, we can use else and print number of one or number of present.
So you want this as elif.
Elif, yes.
Key.
Greater than elif.
All right.
And then print else.
Okay, do you think this will work?
Hopefully. It's getting false here.
Okay. So this
RETUR. It's still
okay. So debug this and then we'll get to know. Alright, why? So alright, let's get back to the previous state and then we'll discuss it first. Let me mess up with something. Alright. Okay, now let's take key as 120. Okay, is it present? No? Right. Start from 50. Key is on the right hand side. Okay, 120. So this is the list. Calculate the mid. Mid will be 2. 2 will be this 100. Compare. Greater. Pass everything on the right hand side. 110. You'll get only one element in the list, right? 110. Calculate the mid. 1 by 2. 1 flow to 0. Mid will be your 0th element, right? 110 equal to 120. No. We'll go to the next condition. Now my next condition says if key is greater than 110, pass everything on the right hand side. And that is why it's giving me error that there is nothing on the right hand side, but still you are passing the list to mid. But still you are passing mid plus 1 to this list. Okay. So in short, if the element is not present, at one point of time your list is becoming empty, right? So the slicing which you are performing on the list, it will be empty, right? So what I can do at the top, I will just say if len of this L equals 0, then return me false, else do all these things.
false.
Okay. Sure.
So what is the idea of something like a low validity with 5? So it will still consider as the beginning.
So your list will become a 0, right? Ultimately. Now let's say take key is 5, right? What is mid? 50.
50.
Take this. Okay. Mid will be 2, 0, 1, 2, 25.
25.
Okay. Less. Pass this 10, 20. What will be the mid?
20.
1, 20. Right? Less. Pass everything on the left hand side. 10. Calculate mid. Mid will be
5.
Okay. 10. Mid will be 0. This is 10 only. Compare 10 with 5.
Multiply.
Less. Pass everything on the left hand side. Is there anything on the left hand side? No, your list is empty, but still you are passing something here which is empty. Now in the next recursion, I will just check if this length is 0. If it is 0, then do not check anything. Do not calculate it, just return it. Okay? Yeah? Alright. Okay. Let's discuss something called module. Okay. So far we have written code in a single file.
Yes.
Right. Okay. We have seen import math. Right. So we were importing some additional functionality from that library, and we were using this function. Right. Okay. So now what I have written a logic for this binary search. Right. Next time whenever I need to search something, I don't want to search it by any logic. I want to use this existing function.
Okay.
Okay, in another file.
You're making it just like an inbuilt function.
Exactly. Okay. So for now, I'll just save this with a name as I'm saving. Sure. Let's say this is as mod1.py. Okay. So this is one file I have. I'm creating a new file and I'm saving it as mod2.py. Okay. Now this binary search function is defined in this particular file. Okay. I have nothing here. Let's take a list which contains 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700. Okay. And I have a key here as let's say 700. Okay. I need to use same function. Okay. So we have said import math.
Yes.
Right. Same way I will just say import. Okay. No. Alright. So I'm commenting this for now. If I just execute this, you're getting this something like this. Okay. And why you're getting this? So let's say if I print okay. So whenever you import any module, so how it works, it will execute all the statements which are in global scope for this particular module. Okay. Now if you see in globals, if I say, if I analyze this entire file, I have this function. Now Python cannot execute this particular function unless and until there is a function call, right? So it will go here, okay, but you define a list, key, a statement, and here you are giving a call. Okay, it is calculating the answer. So and it's written the result, right? So if I execute this here, I'm getting this answer, right? So when I go here and when I say import mod1, first thing it will do execute this entire mod1 and calculate the bytecode for this. Okay, so that's why it will execute this entire file. Okay, but if you see mod1, whenever we are using this math module, we haven't seen some extra results, right? It is not necessary that if I'm using mod1 just for the function, I don't want to see the results, right? But this is important that I want to make sure that mod1 as a standalone module it works. Okay, so one way I can avoid this is just comment this entire part. Okay. So now if I execute it here, I don't have anything, I can just use a function. But in that case, this module is not working, right? Because you have commented some part of code. So this is working here. Here, it's still executing that part. Okay?
It's taking
exactly. Now I want to restrict it. Okay.
It's taking the values that we had given over there, it's calculating the same thing.
Yeah. So we have something called this. Right. Okay. So we have one built-in variable called name.
Name.
So for that name, Python defaultly stores a value name. Okay. So for this variable, Python is storing a value main. Okay. When it stores this main, if your module is executed as a standalone module. Okay. So this mod1 is the only module I am executing. Okay. So that is the reason it will store a main value for this. If I go here in the mod2, my mod2 will be main module and mod1 will be imported module. Okay, so mod2, in case of mod2, main module will be this mod2.py and this mod1 will be imported module. So this mod1 is no longer main module here. Okay, so I can restrict it using saying something. Okay, I'm saying if underscore underscore name underscore underscore equals okay. So now I can see this is working here. Okay, if I go in here, if I execute this, that's not working. Okay, so now why? Because in mod 2 your module is, so this mod 1 is not a main module. Okay, now I have put one restriction saying that if this is a main module, then only execute this global scope path, to make sure that if someone executes only mod 1, my function should work. Okay, but if someone is importing this, it should not execute, it should not give any function call unless and until I am explicitly specifying the path. Okay, clear? Right. Now let's give call to this binary search. Okay, so let's say now I have a list, I have a key. Okay, print. So what is the function name? Binary search. Okay, so same as import math, while using the function we are writing math dot function name, right? Similarly here mod1 dot function name. Okay, so it will give a call to function which is present in this mod1 file, calculate the result and give it back here. Okay, so every Python module, Python file is called as a module. Each .py file which we are writing is a module, and you can import function easily from any module into another module.
So Python is basically like a complete file of all this modules.
Yeah, we can say that. Okay. Now when we imported the math, right? So when I say import and math, okay, and when we did something called help of math, okay, so it showed the entire documentation that these are the functions, okay, and at the top I guess it must be describing this entire module also. Okay, so this is a description that this module is always available. It provides access to mathematical function defined in a C standard, something like this, right? Let's try to do this for our module. Okay, so now here if I do help of mod1, okay, let's say there is a module developed by you and someone is doing help. Okay, initially it's not showing, so defaultly it will fetch all the functions. Binary search, let's say if you define n number of functions, it will defaultly write it here. Okay, but it's not giving me any meaningful information. Okay, so like that math module was given. Yes. So we can do this using I'm going at the top of the module.
4.30W and what are those?
Which one? Oh, it's a folder. Sorry. Right. Okay. So in triple quotes, I'm saying see description.
Search.
Okay. So you can specify who is the author, what is the date on which this model is written. Okay. If someone is modifying it, modify date, modified by something like this. Okay. So this is a good standard industry practice. Alright. So now if I go here and if I execute this, if I go at the tab at the top, so it's on description. Okay, so this model is implementation of, okay, so all the data which I have added. Okay, so this is called as a doc string. Okay, this is called as a doc string of a module. Okay, which will define what is the purpose of this module. Okay, if you want to do the same thing with your functions, just go to the function and in a triple quotes.
No, what if you want to imply this in actual thing outside Python?
Like
You can use an if statement and try to match passwords or something.
which one?
By using if statement and I can keep input. Using if statement, I can try to match the passwords, right? So by that, if I want to use it outside the Python.
Outside the Python?
Yeah, like this is inside one Sublime you're using, right? So what if I want to use it on some folder or something? Or I have some.
So ultimately you need to run Python script to run the logic. Be it any file, be it any language. If you're writing a code in a Java, where you're writing the logic, you have to execute that logic.
I wrote a logic. I just say this is small thing like password. I'll give a default password. Then I'll ask the user to enter a password. Then I'll use if statement if both passwords are true. Then
what is the use case? I mean, where exactly you want to use this? Where you will ask user to input the password? It's a web page,
maybe
or
like
a file,
small folder around your PC or something like that.
So it depends. So you have to ultimately run the Python script.
Right. Okay.
Ultimately, okay.
Now, how can I imply that I'm just asking? Outside, like this one you can use it in Sublime. You can open a new window and use it in a new window.
Are you getting the problem?
No, not getting it. No. Okay, now Sublime is your editor, that's all. Just to write your program. And whatever we have installed, Python 2.0 in the first, that is all there in the background, which is executing your code. Okay. You can use normal notepad also for writing a program, no problem. Ultimately, you have to do any task, you have to choose one language. I understood that. What I'm saying is, this thing that we can define as modules, right? So, what if I want to use this models?
No, so the models which you are defining are Python models.
Okay.
Right? So, you cannot directly outside Python. So, you need to run a Python script for this.
That's what I was asking.
Alright, so how to define a doc string for a function? So let's say I'll just define a triple quotes again. Write something, let's say this is again binary search. Okay, input. It will take a list of number. Okay, and a key as an input. Okay, this will return true if element found, else false. Right? I'll just save it. I'll go in here. If I execute this now, okay, for a function, now it will add this doc string also. Okay. So likewise, you can create a help function for your own module. Okay. So that's all about all functions and the modules. Okay. So we will stop here for today. Next time we will start with file operations. Okay. So how to read from a file, how to perform write operations, how to perform add, update, and delete on that. Okay.
List comprehension problem.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that. Okay. So when we come to map filter, at that time we'll cover list comprehension.
There's a folder. When you're using for statement, for loop, right? When you print the range, what type is that?
So it's a range class.
The range class. So what if I want to reverse that range class?
But if you want to
reverse that range class, if I say I need to reverse numbers from 2020. So
yeah, you can. So we just did it, right? So we defined from 5 to 0 and -1.
you can just directly
So we have done this, right? So in that factorial example,
yes.
5, 0 and -1. Concept is this: start point you have to specify, it will start from there. You have to specify end, your end is not inclusive, and just provide an increment or a decrement. Okay?
And then we have the record.
Yeah. Sure. So we'll stop here. Okay, I'll mail the file and recording. Actually, it takes some time to record it. Okay, to convert it, so I'll upload it and send it. Okay. For the previous sessions, I might have lost one or two, but for the same topic, I'll send you the older recordings. Okay, for the same topics. Okay.
So we will class one.
Let me confirm with Amitesh. I guess we might have to cover up for the last week. Okay, let me discuss with them. Just ask you to give the call. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you guys.